Senate Republicans are continuing to block this critical COVID relief bill. Now Donald Trump is attacking voting by mail as he trails Joe Biden in the polls. But there is more, and if you haven't heard about this, we're going to get into it right now. In an incriminating and sweeping claim, the president is brazenly saying he will take the instruments of voting hostage right now. Now, this, of course, comes as these talks have stalled over relief for millions of Americans. You know it. A lot of people know it. People are without jobs through no fault of their own. There was jobless benefits until they ran out. So that is the backdrop for Donald Trump now formally blocking $25 billion in emergency funding for the Postal Service. Making it harder to vote is not something politicians generally admit is their goal, and certainly not as part of a strategy to take a hostage, your COVID relief from your taxpayer dollars for you and millions of others. So this is a big story here tonight with echoes of the confessions everyone remembers from Ukraine collusion, which of course led to impeachment. Sometimes they just say it out loud. Donald Trump admits it on camera.
They want $25 billion for the post office. Now, they need that money in order to have the post office work so it can take all of these millions and millions of ballots. Now, if we don't make a deal, that means they don't get the money. That means they can't have universal mail-in voting. They just can't have it.
If we don't get the deal, your president says, then they don't get free and fair voting, which is your actual constitutional right. This is the president conditioning your jobless benefits on your right to vote. It comes amidst slowdowns that have been widely reported at the post office under this administration and warnings from, again, nonpartisan independent election officials, not the anti-Trump resistance, that there is serious potential for further problems counting what will be more crucial in a pandemic, which is mail-in ballots. Now, one way to look at this is, okay, the president said something in an interview. He says a lot of stuff. But, Ari, how real is this? Well, we try to make sense of that for you. And I have some caveats about all this as well for accurate context. But the sign that this is real and intentional also comes from other parts of this administration. Top White House economic advisor saying something very similar. Listen to Larry Kudlow admitting that at the White House, they see the constitutional and universal foundation of a democracy, quote, voting rights, listen for it. They see that as some sort of liberal idea to be negotiated.
So much of the Democratic asks are really liberal left wish lists. We don't want to have voting rights and aid to aliens and so forth. That's not our game. Voting rights. That's not our game.
By law, Congress has the right to decide how much funding the Postal Service gets. I talked to Assistant Professor of Constitutional Law at Georgia State University, Anthony Krice. He says it is troubling when a political goal touches on a fundamental right.
What is really acutely problematic here is that the President of the United States is saying that he does not want to fund a federal agency for the sole purpose of making voting harder.
Voter rights organizations are talking about this attempt to dismantle the USPS as just another form of voter suppression.
Particularly as Georgians, we lost a great legend in John Lewis recently, who was a tireless advocate for voting rights in the streets and in the halls of Congress. And I think we have a particular duty as Georgians to respect John Lewis's legacy and to not only expand voting rights through legislation, but to ensure that the mechanisms and the infrastructure is there, that voting is easier and not harder.
Is there any legal recourse?
In terms of constitutional remedies, we're really, out of luck here. This is a political question, and the resolution will come through the political process.
The U.S. Constitution protects against voter discrimination based on age, race, and sex.